Hi, everyone. I'm Denise Gray. I'm the Associate Registrar for Recruitment and Transition, and we're going to be talking about selecting your courses using the timetable builder and making your course enrollment plans for the purposes of programs that can be found in the life sciences. So if you're in the life science admission category, this is the right spot, or if you're planning on pursuing a program that's in the life sciences, this is the right place for you to be. Okay, so we are going to talk today about the following things. So choosing your courses with an eye on life science programs, making your timetable plan, using the timetable builder, and actually figuring out what days and times you're going to be in courses, paying your fees and completing your registration, and then at the end, a checklist of important dates and deadlines. Okay, so first, when you're thinking about what courses it is to enroll in, you got to gather all the evidence. You got to figure out what it is that you want to do. Use all of your resources to make some good decisions. First, we would recommend that you start with the Innis College Registrar's Office. There are six of us here to help you figure things out and answer your questions. And we take our accountability to you very seriously. It is our job to know the rules of earning your degree, and figuring out your course enrollment is a part of that. So let us help you. You can email us, you can call us, you can drop in, you can schedule an appointment. We take appointments virtually and in person. There's lots of ways to reach us. Online planning tools, the academic calendar and the timetable builder. Academic calendar is a session I just finished going through. Timetable builder is what we're going to talk about now. The Innis 101 Corpus, all of this information has been distilled for you in the Innis 101 Corpus. Please use it. It's a great resource for you to keep going back and checking and um, finding more information, and it will be continue to be updated throughout the summer as things become relevant to you. The Arts and Science current student site, the Arts and Science, Faculty of Arts and Science has a great website. All of these slides, by the way, are going to be posted to the NS 101 Corpus, and all of these links are hyperlinked. So you can go in, get the slides, and click on the link, or you can just Google Faculty of Arts and Science current students. They've done a great job putting all the information into manageable parts for you. Acorn, which you'll get to know really well. Acorn is your course management site. This is where you actually enroll in courses. This is where you see your invoice, where you track your grades, where you defer your fees, you update your address. Acorn is all things relevant to you as a student. And Degree Explorer actually is available through Acorn, and it keeps track of all of your degree requirements and your progress that you've made towards them. So things like the fulfilling the breadth requirement, the number of credits that you have, your major, minor, and specialist, um, course, your course exclusions and how they count for different programs, and how you can use one course to apply to two different programs, and so on and so forth. Degree Explorer also has a great planning tool, and the planning tool allows you to make multiple different uh, plans based on a variety of different programs. So if you have a couple of things that you're trying to decide between, you can make some plans and choose some courses into the future as part of your plan to see if you can fit it all in within your 4 years, or if it's going to take you longer. If you have program specific inquiries, some kind of questions that are really program specific, there are undergraduate administrators available in every single department, and they're subject to area experts. And so let's say you, for example, you wanted to ask me, what's the difference between biological chemistry and biochemistry? I have no idea. They both sound the same to me. What I would recommend then is you go to the various departments and ask the subject area experts, because they can tell you the difference. They can also give you information about kinds of supports that the department has available, like internship or research positions or career options for you in the future. So use the departments. That's what they're there for. And all of their contact information is available on the calendar. Other helpful resources. Your Innis mentors who you've recently heard from, reach out to them. They're really enthusiastic and have been trained to answer your questions or refer if a question is beyond what they're comfortable or capable of answering. The other helpful resource, which I note proceed with caution, is other upper year students, friends, family, neighbors, your uncle's mother's brother's friend who had a sister who went to U of T. They're all going to have advice to you for you. And that's fine. Gather all of the information, gather all of your advice. But when it comes to people whose job it is not, who doesn't have to be accountable to you, um, I would proceed with caution and double check. Okay. So even upper year current U of T students, programs change. And it could be that a program has changed and a upper year student in the program that you're interested in may not have to take the same courses that you do. So uh, again, gather all the evidence, but then go to the experts, come to the registrar's office, go to the departments and confirm before you make any final decisions. Okay. So the three documents, so we talked about the academic calendar. I'm talking today about the timetable builder, and then I've already mentioned the ACORN. So those are the three documents that you need to choose your courses, to plan your courses, and then actually to enroll in your courses. All right, so here's some examples from the academic calendar. So I'm a life science student. I'm trying to figure out what courses to take in my first year. I've gone through some of the programs that I think that I might be interested in choosing, and I want to make sure that I have the first year required courses necessary so that at the end of first year, I'm eligible to apply for the programs that I want. Well, for you guys, for the life sciences, it's actually pretty easy. For almost all of the life science programs, a full year of bio, a full year of chemistry, and a full year of calculus will be enough to count as the first year required courses for so many life science programs. Really, the only program I can think of that doesn't require some combination of those three is psychology, which is a life science program, but it only requires Psych 100. So if you are a life science student and you're not quite sure exactly what program it is that you want to do, then take a full year of bio, full year of chemistry, and full year of calculus. And then at the end of your first year, you're eligible for nearly all of the life science programs. And then at that point, you can decide what it is that you want. So um, as you're thinking about programs, you might be thinking, well, if I've got to limit my courses to 5 credits worth of courses, but I have like a bunch of different programs that I'm interested in doing. How am I going to do that? Well, you can see here with the underlined courses that they're really, by and large, the same. So for these two programs I'm using as examples, environment and health and genome biology requires a full year of biology. So ecology and evolutionary biology and cell and systems biology are the Bio 120, Bio 130 courses. Chemistry 135 and Chemistry 136, which are physical and organic chemistry, or Chemistry 151, which is another version of first year chemistry. It's organic, physical, and inorganic chemistry, and it's a full year. You can see a full credit worth as opposed to the 2 half-credit courses. And in the case of environment and health, you have a whole bunch of options from which you can choose. One of those options is Math 135, which also works for genome biology. And genome biology then also requires Math 136. So you can see that, okay, if I take the biochem and calculus, I can make myself eligible for a bunch of different programs. Um, so in this next slide, you'll see that there may be more than 3 credits at the 100 level that the department wants you to take. I can tell you that no department will require more than 3 credits at the 100 level for the purposes of admission to the program. So the pathobiology specialist, for example, is going to base your admissibility to the program on your marks in Bio 120, Bio 130, Chem 135, Chem 136, and first year calculus. But they also require first year physics, which They tell you you can choose to take either in your first year or in your second year, but your marks in physics are going to have no bearing on your admissibility to pathobiology. So just going back for a second um, to the previous slide. These two programs are both open enrollment programs, which means there's no barrier to admission. The department has said as long as you've earned 4 credits in your first year, you're welcome to join the program. Pathobiology and many other life science programs are what we call limited enrollment programs, in which the department has said, okay, there is some certain criteria that you need to achieve before you can join this program. So by the end of first year, you had to have completed biochemistry and calculus, and your marks will matter. So we'll have a certain number of spaces available in this department to offer to the incoming class, and we'll take the best of the students who apply. It's a variable admission average, so from year to year, it all depends on the quality of the students who've applied for that program to determine whatever the cutoff mark is in biochemistry and calculus, and that's what they're looking at. So they'll require that you take physics as well, but it's not part of your admission to the program, and it doesn't have to be done in first year. If you see course codes separated by the word and, comma, a semicolon, a plus sign, that means and. If you see course codes separated by a slash, that means or. So for example, with the calculus and the chemistry, you have the option of the 2 half-credit courses together or one of those full credit options. All right. So just to get in a bit more detail about how to read course codes, I've created this very busy slide for you. So Chem 222 have taken this course description directly out of the academic calendar. All course descriptions look something like this. In the upper left-hand corner of the course description, you'll find the course code. Remember, it's 8 characters. It's a chemistry 200 level course. That's a half credit. And the course is taught on the St. George campus. That last number 1 tells you the course is taught on the St. George campus. Other courses that are taught at Scarborough or Mississauga will have a 3 or a 5 at the end of them, depending on if it's Scarborough, it's 3. If it's Mississauga, it's 5. Next comes the course title. Next comes the number of class time hours that are required for the course. So in this case, there are 24 lecture hours and 12 tutorial hours. There's no lab component in the course. If there was, it'd be a slash with a number of hours and then P. P stands for practical. Every course has a lecture. Many courses also have tutorials. So a lecture is a formal presentation by an instructor conveying course material to a large group of students, often in a lecture hall. The main goal is to deliver information, explain concepts, cover course material in a structured way. Tutorials, so a lecture is usually a much larger size class, and a tutorial is a smaller class, just a fraction of the number of students who are part of the lecture. Tutorials are smaller, more interactive sessions where students discuss course material, ask questions, potentially receive additional support from the TA or the teaching assistant, the grad student working for the professor. If there are tutorial times listed, it's required that you go. It's not like if you need extra help, you go for tutoring. A tutorial is an integral part of the pedagogy of the course, and you need to make sure that you enroll in a tutorial section and you attend. You get a separate tutorial mark and practical mark for your attendance and participation in those that get integrated into your final mark for the course. So it's important you go. Anyway, so in this case, there's 24 lecture hours and 12 tutorial hours. It's a half year or it's a semester long course. So a semester is 12 weeks. So I can already deduce that there are 2 lecture hours per week and 1 tutorial hour per week in the course. Okay. Prerequisite means prior preparation. So in order to be eligible to take Chem 222, students have to have already completed first year chemistry with a mark of 63, first year calculus course. There's a bunch of different variations, which I'll explain in the next slide. Um, and one of those combinations of physics courses. So chemistry, calculus, and physics needs to have been completed before you can be eligible to take Chem 222. A co-requisite is a course that you would take at the same time that you're taking this one. So for students who wish to take Chem 222, for example, they also have to ensure that they've enrolled in Math 235 or Math 237. Exclusions are courses that if you've taken them, you can't take this one. So if you have taken Chem 220 or CHMB 20H3 or the other two, you can't take Chem 222 because the content overlaps too much. This is a good example too, where you might run into a course code that has a 3 or a 5 at the end of it. Almost everything you find in the academic calendar will have the number 1 at the end of it, indicating it's taught on the St. George campus. But a 3 or a 5 would mean Scarborough or Mississauga, and you may run across them in the calendar. And then the last line, as I mentioned in the previous presentation, is always what breadth category the course falls under. And no surprise, this is a breadth category 5. Okay, course variants. So you've seen in some of the examples that I've shown you that you can take a variety of first year math courses and chemistry courses and physics courses, and how do you decide between them? All right, so math has 4 different versions of first year calculus. Math 133 is not appropriate for life science students. Don't take it. It won't count towards any of your programs. It is appropriate for students who are planning to pursue economics or commerce, but not for life sciences. Math 135 and Math 136 is the most common combination of courses for life science students. It's a practical applications of calculus. Math 137 and Math 157 are more analytical. They're proof-based courses. They're more often intended for students who are pursuing math as a specialist or computer science. But if you have an interest in either those areas or if you have an interest in that level of analytical calculus, then by all means, you're welcome to take those as well. Chemistry, the Chemistry 135 and Chem 136 are the most common combination of first year chemistry courses for life science students. You can choose to take Chemistry 151. It's a accelerated version of the first year chemistry. It's physical chemistry and organic chemistry, like Chem 135 and Chem 136 is, but it's also inorganic chemistry. And it has labs that meet every week, while Chemistry 135 and Chemistry 136 have labs that meet every other week. So it's a little bit more intense version of the course, typically taken by students who are preparing to pursue chemistry as a program or pharmaceutical chemistry, but you're welcome to do it too if you have an interest in chemistry. But typically Math 135 and 136 are the courses that students would choose more likely are more likely the ones that students in the life sciences would choose to take. Okay, physics. Physics 131 and 132, there are very few programs actually in the life sciences that require physics. 131 and 132 is the more typical path. 151 and 152 are also an accelerated version. If you're thinking about physics as a program, that one, that combination 151 and 152 is likely the one that you would want to pursue. All right. So thinking about my 5 credits that I need to enroll in, I already know that 3 of them are biochem and calculus. So I have 2 credits left to figure out. And how am I going to do that? Well, so I want to think about some elective courses, some special first year opportunities, first year foundations, ONES programs. These are options for, by and large, first year students only, like first year foundation courses and Innis 1 courses are literally only available to first year students. Upper year students are restricted from taking them. These courses are designed to help bridge the gap between university or high school and university style learning. They're meant to be sort of a kinder, gentler introduction to university courses. There's typically not a final exam in first year foundation or one's programs courses. Most of the courses base their evaluation on group work and class presentations. They're generally seminar style, which is more of a discussion-based course. They're offered on really specific and niche topics rather than a broad introduction to a topic. A first year foundation course really focuses in on a singular topic. Students love them. I strongly recommend that if you have room in your schedule that you look for a first year foundation or a one's program course because they're great. And they're a great way to ease into your university learning. Don't take more than one credit of a first year foundation course or a one's program course because they generally don't contribute to program requirements. They will count as a credit, and the mark will count towards your GPA, but it doesn't count towards program requirements. The other thing I want to point out to you is the FLIC, the First Year Learning Community. The FLIC is a opportunity for students to have a small group experience in the same life science courses that you would normally be taking. So if you're in the FLIC, and every college has a life science FLIC, we have an Innis College life science FLIC, generally has about 25 to 30 students, 2 upper year student peer mentors, a staff advisor, happens to be me, and a faculty advisor who is from the undergraduate chair of the chemistry department. And the 4 of us meet with the FLIC group of students on a weekly basis for some kind of programming. So every other week, there's a content session where we bring in guest speakers. Maybe it's somebody from the Career Center, or maybe it's somebody from a learning strategist, or maybe we talk about things like how to get a research position or how to do an experiential learning opportunity or an internship. Or maybe we take a field trip to the U of T's Anatomy Museum in the Faculty of Medicine. So the FLIC is a great opportunity to get really targeted information for life science students, and you're in this group with other Innis College life science students. And the other benefit, which might be most important, is that if you're in the FLIC will pre-enroll you into the same sections as your other FLIC students in Innis, in the same sections of biology, chemistry, and calculus. So you don't have to worry about enrolling in any of those courses. All you have to do is think about your elective courses. So I strongly recommend you consider the FLIC, the first year learning community, or look into it a little bit more closely. So every other week is a content session. On the off weeks, it's a study group. So it's a great opportunity to meet other students who are just like you, and then you'll get to see them again in your classes. All right, I'm going to show you a video made by our Innis One.
Hi, my name's Adam Naiman. I'm a sessional lecturer here at Innis College. I do all sorts of things involving film in Toronto, and the course that I teach for a while now is about film in Toronto, INI 100.
Hello, my name is Annalie Popham, and I'm an instructor of INI 102, Storytelling Through Creative Nonfiction.
Hi, my name is Khamutal Dotan, and I am teaching the first year seminar in literary journalism.
The way that the Innis One courses are designed is to sort of give students a chance not just to get used to taking courses in the various Innis streams, but maybe especially for students who are interested in bridging into film studies, you sort of take a look at film history, you take a look at film form and technique, you sort of deal with the idea of studying cultural objects in a particular context, but it's also not limited to film studies students, and it's not a prerequisite or a co-requisite for anything.
You don't need any previous experience to join this course. Whether you identify as a writer who's been writing since you were very young, or you've never written a personal essay before, this course is an opportunity to expand your skills, explore different elements of craft, and get to know each other within a very interactive and welcoming welcoming environment.
Students really have a chance to let go of some of the rules that we were all taught in middle school and in high school about how to write, about that really sort of formulaic essay structure. You get to be much more creative. You come up with ideas about what you want to explore over the course of the semester, and then what we do is we come up with an individual plan so you can build up to writing an article the way that a journalist would.
If your first experience of Toronto is showing up in the classroom, that is fine. You do not have to be a film student. You do not have to be a Toronto resident. It's designed as a first-year class. It's designed to sort of bring people on board, give people an entry point.
You'll learn craft elements like how to work with metaphor, how to avoid the pitfalls of cliché, how to write fully rounded characters, and other elements of craft. You'll also learn different tools like journaling and free writing and more.
So much of school is structured around this sort of top-down model where teachers, professors tell you this is what's right and wrong, and you learn it and then you sort of say it back, whether that's in a test or in an essay. Journalism doesn't function in the same way. Journalism is a function of going out into the world and exploring and then reporting on what you find there. And it really builds a capacity to have some confidence in your own judgment and in your own capacity to convey whatever it is that you found to other people.
So the only thing you need to take the class is, hopefully wanting to do it. And I hope that you do.
Okay, so that's some information about Innis 1. Hopefully it makes you interested in choosing one of the Innis 1 courses. All right, so in general, to sum up strategies for choosing your courses. So your first priority is to select core courses based on a selection of programs in which you're interested. Try and come up with at least 3 different possible programs that you want. List the first year courses for the life sciences. Again, by and large, it's bio, chemistry, and calculus. If you want to take up to 5 credits worth of courses, you have room for electives. Make a list of elective courses you'd like to take. Think about a first year foundation. Think about some other elective course that comes from a different department. Follow your interests. What would you like to learn more about? Take something that wasn't offered in your high school. There were so many different options, something about language or film or literature, or culture, religion, so on and so forth. If you have room still that you don't know what to do, maybe think about something that would fulfill one of your breadth requirements that's not already covered, and then explore. So keep your options open in your first year. You really do have so many opportunities for choice here in arts and science. Okay, a final word on electives. I've basically said all this as well. Consider courses from other academic units. Consider courses that are electives in other programs and that are core courses in other programs and um, come from different departments. So sociology, political science, anthropology, geography, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now I have my core courses and that are in blue. I have Psych 100, which may be a program I might want to pursue, or it may be just an elective. I haven't decided yet, which is why I made it in a different color. And then my 2 breadth requirement courses, Fine Art History and Women and Gender Studies. Okay, so now I have selected my 5 credits worth of courses. Now I need to go into the timetable builder and actually build my schedule. So the timetable builder is a tool that's used across the faculty, across the university. So it's really important that you select the right faculty and then the right session. So the default is the current session. And what you have to do is make sure you use that drop down arrow and select the right session, which is the next one coming up, fall and winter. All right. So information that the timetable gives you, things like whether the course is offered in the first semester or the second semester. If it's a half credit course, like an H course, you need to know, is it going to be offered in September, or does the course start in January? Or is it a year-long course? Does the course start in September and end in April? Class size and available space. It's not updated in real time, but it is um, it does get updated a couple times a day, so you have a fairly up-to-date idea of what the capacity or what the current enrollment is in the course, and maybe how many students are on the wait list. The lectures, practicals, and tutorials is all going to be listed in the timetable. The delivery mode, whether it's online or in person. So if it's in person, most courses are in person, but if there is a section that's available online, it will indicate that in the timetable as well. Enrollment controls, which is uh, tools that the faculty puts on courses to restrict enrollment to certain categories of students. So maybe it's restricted to students who are first year students only, like first year foundations courses or one's program courses, or maybe it's enrollment controls give priority perhaps to students in certain categories, like biology and chemistry have priority enrollment to life science students. So humanities and social science students, if they have access to enrolling in courses earlier, can't enroll in those courses because they're not in the right admission category, for example. And then course instructors, if you're looking for a particular instructor, that information is there. What's not there right now is the course location, like building and room location. It will come. So it will be there hopefully around the time that you're enrolling in courses, but it may be a little bit later. So you may need to make some adjustments um, uh, if you are enrolling in back-to-back courses and you realize they're too far apart on campus for you to get to. So this blue arrow points to a campus map. On the left, I've divided it up into three sections. So with those red lines on the left red line, everything from that line to the left is considered west. In between the two red lines is considered central, and everything to the right of the right red line is considered east. So you have 10 minutes to get from class to class if they're back to back. And 10 minutes is generally sufficient to get within one of those three sections or from west to central or central to east. However, if you have a class that's in the west portion of campus and you have a back-to-back class that's in the east or northeast portion of campus, 10 minutes is not going to be sufficient, and you'll want to make some changes if that happens. You don't have to necessarily have back-to-back classes. You may have gaps in your day. So I'll show you what I mean when we go into the timetable. All right. So I'm going to open the timetable now. Okay. So as I mentioned, you have to choose the right faculty and you have to choose the right session. So once you've done that, then you can start typing in your courses. So we'll start with Bio 120. And you'll see the course came up. It's a fall term course. The course starts in September and ends in December. There are lectures and practicals. There are no tutorials. So you need to choose one from each section. It looks like there are 4 different lectures from which to choose. In fact, I can tell you that there are only 2. These ones, lecture 2000 and 2002, have a restriction enrollment control for students in categories that are not you. So this section is for students in the transitional year program. This section is for students in the Faculty of Kinesiology and Physical Education. So for you, you have priority to enroll in the course, and lecture section 0101 or 5101 are the ones that are available to you. Lecture section 0101 meets Mondays and Wednesdays from 10 to 11. Class size is big. The class size is in our largest lecture hall. It's about 1,500 students. If you choose 5101, the class meets only once per week on Wednesdays for 2 hours. So it's 2 hours either way, and then you get to decide if you wanted it all in one shot, 2 hours one time, or broken up into 2 one-hour meetings. And then you choose a practical. Now, there's a whole bunch of different practicals. You can see they're quite a bit smaller than than the practicals, than the lecture size. The practicals meet every other week. So do the chemistry practicals if you're taking chemistry 135 and chemistry 136. So what you would ideally like to do is schedule your labs so that you have lab every week. One week it's biology and the next week it's chemistry, and you make sure that they're alternating. And the way to do that in the fall is to make sure that the the practical sections in both courses end in the same number. They both end in one in this case, or they both end in two. So practical sections you can see end in the numbers one or two. And if you want to schedule your biology 120 and your chemistry 135 courses, make sure you choose practical sections that end in the same number. These other numbers are irrelevant. It's just make sure they end in the same number. Uh, in the winter, it's different. So the chemistry and biology departments haven't quite gotten it together to make it consistent. So in the winter, if you're choosing Bio 130 and Chemistry 136 and you want labs, meet same day, same time, but 1 week it's bio, 1 week it's chemistry. You choose a biology lab that ends in one number, so either one or two, and then choose a chemistry lab that meets in the opposite number, either one or two. So it could be Bio 130, practical section 0301, for example, and chemistry 136, practical section 0402. So it ends in one or two for the winter, ends in the same number, one, um, both ending in number one, or both ending in number two in the fall. Sorry, it's so complicated. Okay, so I'm using the timetable builder to make a plan. I'm going to choose this Monday and Wednesday from 10 to 11, and then I'm going to choose, I don't know, this um, Thursday 1:30 to 4:30 practical. So here's how it looks so far. Okay, so my schedule is pretty empty. Let's move on to the next course. Behind the timetable and go back. Chem 135. Okay, Chem 135. Chemistry 135 is a prerequisite to Chemistry 136. So you'll definitely want to make sure you take Chem 135 in the fall term. Here's, again, more information about if you plan to take both Chem 135 and Bio 120 and labs on the same day, select practical sections that end in the same number, just as I told you uh, when we were looking at Bio 120. Okay, so Chem 135 has a bunch of different lecture section options. They have about 400 to 500 students in each of the sections. The daytime, I mean, these lecture sections 0101, 0201, 0301 meet in person. The evening section, lecture section 5101, meets online synchronous, so something to note. Um, and then you choose one that fits into your schedule. So I'm going to add this one to my timetable. And then scroll down and I see that there are a whole bunch of tutorials, and the tutorial sections are much smaller, as you can see, and there are many of them. So you find one to add to your timetable. Okay, let's see. I will choose this one. All right. So this is how things are looking so far. Biology and chemistry are back to back, which is fine. You just will have to make sure when the locations are posted to the timetable builder that they're close enough that you can get from place to place. All right, so I got to schedule my chemistry lab, and I want to make sure that I choose one that ends in the number one. Uh, so, and I want Thursdays. Okay, so now I got labs that meet roughly at the same time. The timetable builder thinks it's a conflict, but it's not because they both end in the same number. And I just confirm that with the information here. Okay, so you do that with all of your courses, biology, chemistry, your calculus, your elective courses. You may have to fiddle with it and go back and change a tutorial section and find something that might work with your schedule a little bit better. So that's what I did with all of my courses. And here's what it looks like. So the earliest class that would be available would be something that starts at 9 a.m. So nothing is before then. So 2 days a week I'm here at 9, 3 days a week I'm here starting at 10. I've left room in most of my days for lunch around 1 o'clock. I don't have uh, more than 2 to 3 classes per day. I've got lots of time in between. I don't have anything other than the WGS 160 on Wednesday evenings. I don't have anything that goes late into the evening. If you're a commuter and you think you're going to have a long commute home, that might be something to be aware of. Also, something to think about for a morning commute. If you need to get here at 9, but you live an hour and a half away, that really adds a ton of time to your day. You may not want to start here at 9. Okay. Um, Physics classes and chemistry labs meet. Labs and chemistry labs for Chem 151 meet weekly, and they can't be scheduled at the same day or same time. There's no alternating. I made the same schedule for my winter term with my winter term courses. Again, I'm pretty comfortable with the start time. It's a little bit later in the morning, which is good because it's dark in the winter here. My labs are scheduled appropriately with one ending in the number 1 and the other one ending in the number 2. I don't have huge gaps in the middle of my day except for on Wednesday, but that's fine. I'll just be smart about how I use that time. Um, you may be looking at this and thinking, wow, it's not really taxing. There's 3 hours of class per day. I've got a ton of time to do other things. You should know that the university expects that for every hour of class time, you will spend 2 hours of your own time studying. So that really does actually fill in all the rest of the gaps of the day. You will be studying a lot. All right, this is a plan. You're not ready yet to enroll in Acorn. This is your plan. So you take this plan and then you can go to Acorn. You can go to Acorn now, and I encourage you to do so and put all of these courses in your course enrollment cart. It's like online shopping. You put all your courses in your cart and you go back in on your course enrollment day at your designated start time, which you can find out on Acorn starting on July 1st. At your designated start time on July 17th, which is your course enrollment day for first year students, July 14th for year 2 transfer students, July 9th for year 3 transfer students. But for all the first year students, July 17th is your course enrollment day. And at your designated start time, if all the courses are in your enrollment cart already, you can just go and hit enroll in each one of them, and the process should take no longer than 5 minutes. Okay. Here's a slide that shows the different enrollment controls that we talked about already a little bit. The ones you'd run into most often are priority P, which means that a certain category of students has priority to enroll in them until the priority period is over, which is a week after course enrollment for you. So it would be the 25th of July is when the priority is lifted, and then any spaces that are available at that point are available to any student. So if there are any courses that you wanted to take that you didn't meet the enrollment priority for, the day the priorities are lifted, which is the 25th, is the day that you would be able to have access to enrolling in any remaining spaces. Enroll at the department. So E courses would be ones like a ones program if you're in like Trinity or Vic or Monk One, where you had to apply and be admitted into the program. The department will enroll you into those courses. And restricted, so there's R1 and R2, those never get lifted. So if you meet the restriction, you can enroll in it. If you don't meet the restriction, you'll never have access to it. Okay. We covered this already a little bit. So all of the planning happens in the timetable builder, and then you go to Acorn and enroll in your courses on Acorn. You go to your enrollment cart, put all of the courses that you want, that you have planned so carefully in there. You should have a couple of backup plans just in case courses are full by the time you get to enroll in them. And then check Acorn on July 1st or later to see what your start time is, and then make a plan at that designated start time, which will be assigned to you on July 17th. Enroll in your courses on Acorn. So if you're just wondering, like, how many bookmarks do you need to have to keep all of these websites straight? If you go to the UToronto homepage in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see direct access to Acorn, Quarkus, and your UToronto email. Okay, so tips from me. Plan your schedule well in advance of July 17th. Don't wait to the last minute. Um, Plan for your whole academic year. Don't plan all 4 years, right? Just plan what you're going to take next year. Maybe look ahead to year two, because maybe those year two courses have first year course prerequisites that you'll want to make sure you take in year one. But really, just add to your enrollment cart only the courses you're going to be taking next year. On July 17th, you can add up to 5 credits. On July 25th, on the day the priority is lifted, you can add up to a sixth credit, but again, don't do it. Don't intend to take 6 credits, but if you're deciding between 2 courses and you want to add a sixth credit and go to the first lecture, that's totally fine. And then make a decision and drop one of those courses. It's reasonable to add yourself to a waitlist if a course is full and they offer a waitlist. It's reasonable to add yourself to the waitlist if your waitlist position is within 10 to 15% of the total class size. No, timetable builder is not updated in real time, but Acorn is. And so you'll be able to see immediately what your position is on the waitlist and the capacity of the course. Enroll in your full academic year, both fall and winter term courses. Do it now. You can change your winter term courses up until the middle of January. But if you wait to enroll until the middle of January, you're never going to get into the ones that you want because they're going to be full. They're going to fill up in July. So enroll in your full academic year now. If you are interested in taking a course for which you don't meet the enrollment control, you can't add it to your enrollment cart. So just be aware of that. Okay, so course enrollment, we've covered this in great detail, is one part of being registered. Registration is your key. The second part of course enrollment registration is fee payment. So course enrollment is one part. Once you've enrolled in courses, then you need to focus on paying your fees. Your fees, your minimum payment is 50% of your total academic fee, and that is all calculated for you on your invoice, which will appear on Acorn in mid-July. Or you need to defer your fees if you're using OSAP or a Canadian provincial, have a Canadian provincial loan or like financial aid plan, like OSAP or BC Student Aid, for example. Or if you have a scholarship that covers 50% of your fee for your tuition, because your minimum payment is 50% of your total academic fees. That is due August 12th. Don't miss that deadline. If you do, the university will assume that you're not coming and will remove you from the courses you worked so hard to put yourself into. At which point, everybody on the wait list will say, thank you very much for doing that, because now they get automatically slotted into those spots, and you may not be able to get those courses again. So do not miss the deadline of August 12th. Please pay by this date. Okay, a note about fees. Check your invoice on Acorn in July. You won't be receiving a paper invoice in the mail. Note that if you paid an admission deposit or a residence deposit, that it's not what we use to trigger registration. You still have to pay that 50% of your total academic fees. That's what will trigger registration. Your fees are flat fees based on a program fee of 4 credits or more. I know that Daniela talks about this in the Money Matters presentation, so check out that video as well. And then don't miss the deadline by August 12th. All right, a couple final thoughts. Acorn does not check for prerequisites or co-requisites, but the departments do. So don't put yourself into a course that you're not eligible to take, because eventually the department will come around and make those prereq checks and remove you from the course, at which point, who knows when it is, it might be too late to add other courses, right? If you're taking a daytime class, it starts 10 minutes after the hour, as I mentioned earlier. So a class that would is listed as starting at 10 a.m. actually starts at 10:10. but evening classes start directly on the hour, so anything 5 p.m. or later. Building and room locations will be updated on Acorn, hopefully before August, but certainly by August. Acorn doesn't prevent you from making timetable conflicts, so please plan accordingly. If you're on a wait list um, for F or Y courses, that wait list will turn off on September 11th. However, the last day to enroll in courses is September 14th. So between the 11th, when it turns off, and September 14th, which is the last day to enroll in courses, if any spaces become available, it's available to anyone to enroll in. So check Acorn constantly and see if a spot opens up, and then you can grab it. In the winter term, waitlists turn off on the 14th, and similarly, the last day to enroll is a few days later. It's reasonable to join a waitlist if your position is within 10% to 15% of the total class size for F or Y courses, maybe a little bit higher for winter term courses because you can sit on the waitlist all the way up until mid-January. Okay. And again, please use your resources. We're here to help. Send us an email, call us, send me an email directly, talk to your e-mentor. This is what we're here for. Thank you very much. Take care.